An app to control a plane, a constitutional convention, and a resistance led by none other than Alex Parrish. Season 2, Episode 21, and the season finale of Quantico start right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It is the last dance. Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV and the Quantico After Show. I am your host, Drexel Heard. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Drexel Heard, and like my Facebook page, Drexel Heard Official. Welcome back to the panel this week.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. I am Timothy Michael. You can reach me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike, and to my left.
Hey guys, I'm Renee Ariel, and you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel, and check out my blog sextingandthecity.com.
You can follow AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV, and follow along in the conversation in the chat room. If you're in the chat room, hello. And leave your comments below for these last 2 episodes of the season. Sorry we missed last week. A lot of crazy schedules here in Los Angeles, so we always have to compete with that. But we are back this week to talk Rainbow and Resistance. So let's start combined. Just real quick. Ooh. How did you guys like these last 2 episodes?
I felt like this was more of a series finale than a season finale. And I don't know if I was the only one who felt that watching these, but it just felt like it was coming to a head. I enjoyed the Rainbow episode, and on the Resistance episode, I just felt like it went too fast, and they wrapped everybody up without leaving us a cliffhanger. So a little disappointed.
I agree with you in the sense of it definitely felt like a series finale. I liked that it went out with a bang. I enjoyed seeing Ryan and Alex back together. However, there were moments that just felt so weird because it was like, oh no, we can't be together. We can't be together. And then within an episode, Ryan's like, I can completely change and we can be together. And then they were together and he gave up everything, literally his life, to be with her. And no one was like, hey, like, where'd Ryan go?
Interesting. Well, we definitely want to know what you guys thought about those episodes. So leave those comments below. Hello, Chels.
Chelsam90, that's my girl.
In the chat room. Hello, and welcome to everybody watching and listening if you're on podcast. So let's talk about where we left off from the last episode, episode 20. Where we left off, Claire Haas was resigning. And President Rourke, or Henry Rourke, was about to take the oath of office. Not necessarily take the oath of office, but he was going to be taking the oath of office right after 10 o'clock the next day. So in Rainbow, we started off with Rourke signing the registry, this executive order. Now, what's really interesting about when we started this season, it was before the election, I believe. And then we got into post-election, and the creators were saying that, how do they take Quantico into this post-Trump world? And how close do they get to reality? And a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today kind of are super important. And I say that because, and I'll say this on my show tomorrow because I do political culture on Tuesdays, is that like last week super stressed me out. Like as a Politico, I was really stressed out. And then watching this episode, I was like, this is what this world would be like if Donald Trump was smarter.
It's true.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like if he was as smart as Henry Rourke, like if Steve Bannon was president, this is exactly what our America would look like right now. And that's very scary. So they started out signing this registry to curb radical terrorism in the United States, executive order, Muslim registry. Now, this is something that I believe would get knocked down by all the courts. Because as we know now, a Muslim ban obviously would not be able to make the court, pass the court. So Muslim registry certainly would not be able to go into effect. So that's, in the world of Quantico, that's something that they never really addressed. At this point, we're just a few days in, or probably a couple of weeks into the Rourke administration.
Less than a week.
Less than a week. Yeah. Alice, so they said he signed more executive orders than anybody. And then Alice Winter is now in a national security role, not necessarily a national security advisor. I couldn't tell it wasn't really clear what her role was. And the FBI is now looking for the team, specifically Ryan and Shelby
and Raina.
Yeah.
what was, and as we start this conversation, there are, like I said, there are a lot of scary things that kind of point to things that are happening right now. The FBI looking for the team at the behest of the President of the United States. Now, typically, the FBI should be an independent organization, an independent, not intelligence, but law enforcement agency, and should not be at the control of the president. In this case, the FBI was in control of. The president was in control of that. And why? Like, how did you guys feel about, like, watching that piece of it? You're like, well, now this team, who was the FBI, the CIA, because it goes back to what the end, I'm just skipping ahead real quick, which I never do, where they talk about, was Alex a traitor or a hero? Like, how do you explain to the American people, like, what you were doing, like, without telling them what you were doing? And now you're the only people that you are taking their word for it as the bad guys, being the president and his team.
I mean, I just feel like in terms of the FBI going after the team, I feel like because of everything that happened with them being in the spotlight and because of the media, the person who was running the FBI decided to, couldn't say no to the FBI going after them. Like, they were in a tight spot where they were like
right now.
Yeah, where they had to go after them. Otherwise, the American public would have been like, okay, why are you not going after them? I don't necessarily think that, yes, President Rourke was supporting that decision, but I think if he was president or if he wasn't president, they would have still had to go after the team regardless because of the tight spot that they were put in because of the collaborators.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. It was odd. Just the way it transitioned through these two episodes was very odd because first they were being chased and then they were being rewarded and then they were being chased and then Alex was a question at the end. It's an
emotional roller coaster with a lot of these things.
Within 2 episodes.
Right, and that was another thing that bothered me about these 2 episodes was the fact that, these are people that are a constant pain in your side. Why can't you just arrest them for something? And yet he let them go on so many different levels. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm after you. I caught you, but I'm letting you go. Oh no, I caught you. I'm letting you go. But in the end, if you would have just arrested them in the first place, like when the FBI first came into them in the second episode and was like, oh, we're here. And Alex was like, we'll go quietly. And they were like, no, we're not here to arrest you. And you're like, well,
because the American people would have never known regardless. They just would have never known.
Right, but if they had just arrested them, then none of this would have happened. Like their plot, the collaborators' plot would have gone on without a hitch.
Right. Now, in the real world, obviously from a due process standpoint, they have about 48 hours they can hold somebody and then they got to let them go, whatever. But in this case, I'm sure the president and the NSA and the intelligence community probably could have come up with some trumped up charges and said, for national security reasons, we have to hold you. Yeah. And that would have been how they got held, or treasonous things. But then they would have lawyered up, and they would have had to eventually have some due process stuff. So the main task of the first episode was to get the FFA code, the Federal Aviation Administration code, to ground the planes because they found out that an app could take a hold of a plane. Or that people could take a hold of a plane through apps through 6 people on different flights. Because
the engine avionics was being installed in all the planes because of what happened last time.
Correct.
Right.
And Peter Thiel was the creator of this app. And they also had to stop the attack from the air. So now you've got Alex and Ryan and everybody in the air. And what were you going to say?
In the air?
I'm saying, wait, no. Who was on the plane?
Nobody was
on the plane.
But this was what I was going to say. Last week, did they not show a preview of Alex and Ryan in the plane?
That's what I was thinking.
That's 100% what you were thinking because I was waiting for that moment. I'm like, oh, is there a 7th plane? Because in the preview, it showed Alex and Ryan like saving this plane that's going down. Never happened.
I was thinking the same thing.
They were never in the air, but you're thinking of that clip that exists. Look it up from last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to see what the preview was there, and I was like,
and it's 100% like them stopping the plane from crashing.
Right.
Like it's Alex and Ryan in a plane, like it's going down and trying to save it.
Do you think that they changed?
I think they just do these stupid previews just throw us off. I honestly do.
Like that dinner with Caleb that never happened.
Yeah, like all of these like previews that they've set up for us, and then we go to the next episode and we're like, so that didn't happen. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that was a little weird. Thank you, because I was like, I
You're
thought
not
I saw
crazy.
them on the plane, but they didn't. But we did see them on the plane later. So that was the main task to stop these from happening. I thought it was really cool that we now had to bring back more team members. Miranda and Will. They like Will on this show.
Yeah,
They keep bringing him back.
I liked Will too.
And they keep bringing him back, and then Matthew Keys, who we thought was a bad guy at the beginning, who turned out not to be as bad. And I think I only thought he was a bad guy because he was so good at being bad on ABC's Revenge.
Oh, I haven't seen Revenge.
I keep thinking that he played Conrad Grayson, and I keep thinking that he's
Well, they were also pretty ominous about his character. Like, they would show him, like, sporadically, and then he would disappear, and you're like, okay, well, where did he go? If he's the head of this, one of the heads of this task force, where did he go? And you're sitting here showing President Haas more than you're showing somebody else who could be there and has nothing else to do.
Right. How scary it is? How scary is it? The idea of an app being able to somebody from the ground being able to control apps. Like, we already know that when an update happens to a phone, it's controlled globally.
Yeah.
And this morning I was walking because we have a Amazon Echo, and I remember thinking to myself, because if you in the morning you say like good morning whatever, computer good morning or whatever,
it answers you.
It answers back to you.
That's creepy.
And it gives you like an update of the day. Like today's, like if it was Mother's Day, like on Mother's Day it was like, today's Mother's Day, let me tell you a haiku. Like that's what it said. And then it reads this haiku. But that has to be uploaded globally through something else. So like now you've got these apps that can control the planes in the air.
I feel like this just gave some crazy person in the world a great idea.
I'm sure it was there. I mean, if you think about it, no idea is new anymore. Most ideas are just recycled. So yeah. I'm sure the Quantico writers did not just think of this. I'm sure somebody has tried to attempt to do this, and
I think I really enjoyed this little twist with the planes and stuff like that, because it highered the stakes for me of this show, where I was like, wow, this is really dangerous. I'm really concerned about all these people. There's 6 planes up there. Like, where are they going? Where are their targets? Mm-hmm. But then it was resolved so quickly, and this is one of my one of my critiques for Quantico in itself, is that they resolve things so fast that I don't have a chance to really invest emotionally into these situations where I'm like, I want to sit here and wonder where these planes. I want to be with these passengers on this plane, but yet it gets resolved so fast that I'm like, okay, well, all right, well, great. It was a threat, now it's not a threat. Awesome. I don't really have any feelings about it now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I thought they were going to have more to it simply because of last week's preview for the episode. It really seemed like that's what the whole episode would be about. But honestly, they spent more time having Shelby try to sober up Clay than they did actually showing what was going on with the planes.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys watched Sherlock. No. But this was something that happened in Sherlock where they were trying to ground this plane. But ABC has a...
which was just a figment of an imagination.
But like still, like an airplane going down, they have to get
spoilers.
Through it. But... I mean, it's not a spoiler because it had not much. I mean, there was anyway. But ABC also has a lot of shows that have plane issues anyway.
You mean Grey's Anatomy?
Shonda Rhimes shows.
But Grey's Anatomy does it really well. This show did not.
Yeah, but how many plane crashes did
that's
Grey's
what I
Anatomy
was going to say. I remember, I watched maybe 10 seasons in. Big fan. But it was like, I remember I watched an episode that was new, and they're like, well, what happened in your plane crash? I'm like, that's not a normal thing.
No.
That's
Look, I do the Grey's Anatomy after show on Thursday nights, and the season finale is coming up, and they almost had a plane crash this season.
That's the episode I watched.
Right, and it wasn't an actual plane crash, but the stakes were still raised. Like, didn't you feel, like, emotionally invested? Like, oh my God, is this plane going to go down, or is it not going to go down, or invested in the passengers?
No, I was literally thinking about that time that all of them crashed in that plane.
Oh my gosh, that's all you're thinking about. What I'm saying is that Grey's Anatomy does plane crashes really well, because they make you invested in this actual situation, whereas Quantico, I felt like it was a missed opportunity, whereas this situation was really, really cool, and then I just wasn't invested emotionally.
Yeah, there were a lot of, you got these the flight attendants going down, snatching people's phones up. Nobody on the plane says a word.
That was my favorite scene.
They see the excuse me. You see the flight attendant stomping on this guy's phone. Nobody says a word.
How about the guy's reaction when she takes his phone? This is everyone's reaction.
Right. Right.
I'm sorry, someone just ripped your phone out of your hand.
Right.
The flight attendant did, and then stomps on it. Do we get a, oh wait, like you know for a fact these guys were background actors, like a featured background actor, and they're like, they give him no direction, just look.
No,
like,
they were
took it
on
away.
United, and they were just happy that they weren't getting
They
pulled
just
off
did
the
not want to
plane.
get pulled off the
Take
plane.
my phone, don't take
Unless,
me.
unless
Great.
United is one of our sponsors, in which case, fly
We
United.
love United.
We love United.
Huge fan. What did we do that last week with?
I can't
Who
I don't
knows?
remember.
So speaking of what you were talking about with Shelby and Clay, so Raina has to turn herself in to go get Nima out, or to go see Nima.
Just to go see where she
Just
is.
to go see where she is.
Right.
Then gets herself taken. Shelby then, scatters off. Here's my thing about that whole thing. And I'm all about placement of people. The FBI was like surrounding these people, surrounding this camp or wherever they thought. First of all, why didn't the FBI go in and get them?
True.
You know what I mean? If they already knew where they were, because it wasn't that they walked. Raina walked right outside past a tree and that was it. And then they swooped in on her. Secondly, the team that was there snatched her, put her in the thing. Where was the backup team? Where was the backup team to go after the other four? Like, if they all thought that this was a compound that they were going to be at.
Drexel, you're going right. You're looking too much into
I'm
it.
just
It's
trying to.
Quantico. I mean, we
I'm
can't
just
really look
trying
too
to
much
figure
into
out.
because there are going to be so many holes that we can find in this show that you just have to think. You just have to like throw it away as TV magic because it's like. I feel like, and Mike Smith says he's going to hate their new showrunner next season, but I'm like, the showrunner this season didn't really do very much of a good job.
Yeah, almost
either.
ran this show into the ground this season.
So
Can we just please talk about the fact that the Nima Reina situation
I got
was
right this
so
time.
big? You did.
You did. Good
Was
job.
so big this at second half of the season, and they literally explained nothing.
They were just free.
She walked out, was like, "I'm going to get my sister," and then all of a sudden at the end of the
That was so
episode,
Are you
good.
Raina?
Cute.
Are you doing-
Yeah.
That was better than your Russian accent at the beginning of the first half of this season.
thank you. I can master one accent.
Yeah, one at a time. No, that's really. And I know we're going to talk. That's in the second part of the half of this
sorry,
episode,
sorry.
so we'll get to that. So yeah, Clay needs to get this code. That also happened very fast because we didn't even see who he got the code from.
Right.
Because I was like, is he call? Because I thought that he was going to call Felix for the code.
Or even his mom, who was like, I still have access, blah, blah, blah.
It wasn't that. It was your mom just left a week ago. Do you still have contacts? Not could you get it from your mom? Because by that point they'd have re-scrambled all the
that's
codes.
true, yeah.
So like, but I thought that's how they were going to bring Felix back in.
No,
not the way that they did.
Like Renee said, they spent so much time on Shelby trying to, sober him up and him trying to hit on Shelby that they didn't even...
Right. So then all this whole thing, Ryan, everybody's got their own little tasks that are happening. one particular situation that I thought was really interesting was changed the dynamic changed the whole trajectory of Ryan Booth, which is the conversation with Matthew Keys, where he basically told him that he was not as good of an agent as Alex was.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, wow. Ryan, who's like the stand-up agent, is now being told he's not as good as the rogue agent.
And that he only got hired at the farm to make
her better.
Alex better, which I thought was crazy. Another fact that I found interesting was Keys' wife was also a CIA operative, which I think that they could have explored. Maybe they'll do it next season. There's a lot of chat going on. Yes, they did get renewed for a third season.
Third season.
It's only going to be 13
though.
episodes until they find the new showrunner. Drexel told us this before we aired.
That I was going to tell you later, but Tim already skipped ahead.
Well, they're talking about it in the
Yeah, I
chat, so we
got
need
that.
to talk about these guys. And I feel like I hope that they explore that more in the next season. Hopefully they will. But I want to see more of character development with Matthew Keys.
Yeah, well, if he comes back.
I don't think he will.
I don't know about
Wait,
this.
just a question. So, Keys hired Ryan and Alex because he wanted Ryan to make Alex better, but they fired Alex during her mission because she was interfering with their other mission, but then they wanted her to go rogue. Are you as confused as that? Because think back to how that whole thing started. Miranda had ulterior motives. They fired Alex. Do you not remember this when they got rid of Alex, but Alex
Yes.
kept them? Did you really only bring Ryan on to make Alex better because you ended up firing her?
Who knows?
Just to
anymore?
motivate her, really.
Just a little motivating. So then they ground these planes, which is great, blah, 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 blah. But the bigger plan was not just these planes. It was it was these plans, but it was to get to the bigger issue, the bigger part of the plan, which was the Constitutional Convention.
Yes.
So I'm going to quickly explain what that means for everybody.
Please do, because I was very confused.
So Constitutional Convention is something that's within Article 5, something that people have been talking about since Donald Trump was president. So right now, so it takes 2/3 of the state, an amendment has to be ratified by Congress, and then it has to pass 2/3 of all the states. In this case, that would take a long time, because this is why we only have 25, 26 amendments, and nobody has done anything since. So you have to get a constitutional convention together to kind of rework some of the things. Now, right now, Republicans control about a good chunk of the Republican legislatures, and 11 of the states have supported a constitutional convention. Now, they need 34 states to call a constitutional convention, and if they ever got the 34 states, they would go somewhere, Philadelphia in this case for Quantico, and they would start to make changes to the amendments or update them. Now, America's only been around for less than 300 years, technically. So then the question is, are we due for an update?
I think we are, honestly, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment. I mean, that
then you have to think of this Republican,
But that's what I mean.
Right.
Like, it does need to be ratified, but at the same time, it's never going to happen, because we can make little changes. We had or have the power to make little changes to that amendment, or to enable acts that can protect people in the United States from the Second Amendment. But it still hasn't been done, in spite of everything that has happened with gun violence. So
right. But
to ratify the entire thing, I don't.
You can get. In this case, hypothetically speaking, you could get 34 states, because Republicans control 30 states basically, and so they could call it. They get 11. All they need is about 15, 18. Then things start to topple after that, and so you can call a constitutional convention anytime soon. In the next 2-3 years or whatever, if that's the overall plan, so they can go back and start making some of these changes. Which is why it's really important to vote, people. But the last time a constitutional convention was called was when the Constitution was ratified, when the amendments happened. So, this is not something that happens often.
All the time, every year.
But that does not mean that it cannot happen.
Could you guys imagine being alive and that would happen? That'd be crazy.
It'd be crazy. It was just crazy to watch on the show, which is why I said it's always very scary stuff to watch. But you guys can Google that. There's articles that have been coming out over the past couple of months just about the Constitutional Convention and what that would entail for people. So the next task for the team is now to topple the presidency and stop the Constitutional Convention from happening, which then takes us into episode 2, which is the resistance. So at the end of the last episode, the FBI visits Clay's apartment, and then they whisk everybody off to the White House, which is where the president is, and he is now exposing the team, CIA agents and FBI agents. Now, this is where it got a little crazy for me, because I was like, the last time CIA agents were exposed was Dick Cheney, and that's not. That was a big thing. You just don't expose CIA agents. FBI is a little bit different, because they're not undercover agents. They're not, intelligence officers. But but CIA, you just don't expose agents out there like that. I don't even know, what do they not call agents?
But that's another operatives, CIA operatives, FBI agents. But that's another thing that bothers me, because it's like and that's another reason why it felt like a series finale for me, because I'm like, literally everyone on the team now, all of their faces are exposed now. So how do we expect to go into a season 3 and be undercover in any capacity when everybody knows your face?
Well, and that's why it was always so crazy when we saw those hackers that time, and they were looking at Alex Parrish like they had never seen her before. You're like, Alex, this is Alex Parrish, the person whose face has been plastered all over the news, all over newspapers.
Yeah, but now is it not only just Alex, but now it's everybody. Literally everybody on the team. What?
Clay obviously is one person whose face they've seen before, already public. Ryan Booth had already been public at that point because of the episode where they exposed him on video. Some of these other
Nema wasn't even there.
Was there, yeah. Shelby Wyatt already exposed because I mean she's big money, you know. So there was a couple people, but I mean like a couple of the other people. You're like, you know, Owen, who was CIA.
Owen
was standing up there.
I know. Wasn't he exposed though? He was exposed. That's why he doesn't work out in the field anymore, right?
Yeah, he works at Quantico, the farm.
He works at the farm.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't pulled because he was exposed. I don't think. I think he was pulled because of everything that had happened.
His mental state.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that was happening. I mean, somebody could correct me.
I thought he was exposed.
So then the president's, the purpose of that was for the president to now create, to basically dismantle the FBI and CIA, create one agency, which in this case, in the real world, everything falls under the Department of Homeland Security, and this is kind of what they were umbrella because because then the intelligence agencies weren't working well together, so they needed to put everybody under one umbrella, which is the Department of Homeland Security, and that's what it was. But now they've kind of toppled all that to create DISA, the Domestic Service Agency, which is I don't know why they've had an I in there.
I don't know why they had an I.
It's weird.
I was thinking that too.
Because I thought it was just DSA, and then they were calling it DISA, and I was like, where's the I? I don't get it.
It wasn't the Domestic Intelligence Service Agency.
Maybe.
I thought it was the Domestic Intelligence Service.
Maybe we can. Yeah, I'll write that down. So they've got the DISA, and then they bring back Iris Chang. So now the
team has to play like this role of we're supporting this new presidency and supporting the direction that he wants to go in, but really we're not. We're like,
what's new though?
Right.
Yeah.
And then so Iris Chang, who we remember from season 1, comes back.
He was exposed. Renee's right. So that's why he was already exposed.
So that's good. Thank you, the truth in the chat room.
And you're welcome. Also.
And Renee, thank you very much for pointing that out. Which was good to see Iris. Good to see somebody from season 1.
Yeah. So
random to bring.
I was like, I know you.
Right.
But I didn't remember her name for the life of me.
Which is interesting because like out of all the characters that they could have brought back, like where was Diana? Where's Diana?
God, she's gone.
We have a PSA. Where's Diana?
Which I'm really surprised that she wasn't one of the people that got interviewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she had already trained. I mean, I know that she was a little cuckoo, whatever, but they just kind of wrapped her up and put her in a little bow, and she's gone.
She's gone.
But as the truth said, all the black women are in jail, so Diana got to go too.
She might be in jail.
She might be in jail. I don't know. And then now Nema, who is still being held, is being charged with criminal impersonation, which is a felony in Virginia.
Yep.
Clay is now working on the no states for the convention, so everybody's kind of in their holes now. And then the team starts to use the bar as a cover. Did you guys think that was smart?
No.
Like, what did you guys think was going to happen?
I thought it was smart, but then it was a little too like 007 when they were like opening the jukebox and like opening the billboard, and I was like, where's the owner to the bar?
Who
Did he
bought
not
this bar?
know? Like where?
Right.
What? Like you guys have been coming to this bar for 2 seasons now, almost this entire season, and all of a sudden you're just like transforming it into a bunker.
Yeah.
Remember that episode where it was like blocked, and it was. I thought they were going to do that.
Nope.
They might as well have brought that back.
I have a few questions. 1, who owns that bar? 2,
Hagrid's brother Albus. I mean, what's Albus Dumbledore's brother?
Harry Potter reference. What's your second question?
My second question is, if they're being followed constantly, wouldn't they notice that they're not leaving the bar? That they're staying there after hours?
But it goes back to what Maxwell Fletcher had said, because we come to find out that he was actually watching them, or he was actually, listening to them.
Well, yeah.
Which was, they thought they were good, and they weren't.
Nope.
Yeah, and they didn't notice the new TVs. How do you not notice new TVs that are installed?
And then on top of that,
they said they were new.
All you had to do was unplug them because only the mics were working. So if you just unplugged them like they did after they were exposed, they're
already so paranoid. They leave their smartphones in the car. You can't unplug a TV.
I don't think. Well, yeah, right.
I mean,
if you're gonna be paranoid, go all out. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
No, for real though. But for 3 months, you don't notice new things.
New TV.
Your job is to notice sweeps and new bugs and things like that every time you walk in there. So that was weird.
She looked at her water bottle that was in her bag and was like, "Wait, I didn't put that in my bag," and then like figured out this whole conspiracy going on. But she didn't notice the 4 flat screen TVs that they added to the bar.
Carmen in the chat room said, "Why meet in the bar versus meet the bunker?" At that point, the bunker had already been
compromised.
made. Yeah, so they wouldn't meet. They wouldn't have met in the bunker. I'm sure they could have found a better place.
Anywhere else.
But a bar. But then they were being followed. So they could have gone back to the farm.
Could have gone back to the farm.
So then they're working on flipping swing votes. They had about 4 swing votes in the convention to kind of stop this train from wrecking itself.
Yeah.
And they started to use scandalous situations about people, which I found interesting in this kind of post-truth world. Like, you can literally make anything up about anybody, and it doesn't really stick all that much. Or it does. Like, how much did you guys think those scandals would have hurt those people in this day and age?
No, I thought, I mean, to swing the vote, I was persuaded. I thought those situations were cool. They were very clear and concise, and this is what we're doing to you to swing, to make you to say no, and I believed all 4 of the situations. I thought they were cool.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, not necessarily that they were not made up, but like, do you think it would have mattered if that truth would have come out?
Well, it would have ruined a marriage, and then I don't remember what the other 3 were.
Well, I mean, all of them were dominatrix and things like
white
that.
Supremacist
like
group, corporate fraud. Like,
yeah.
It would have inconvenienced them enough to swing their vote, for sure. I would think. But maybe not, like, destroy them.
No, but I mean, that's all they wanted to do was swing the votes.
Yeah.
And they did that. Until.
And yeah.
Which leads us to
Clay's big plan, which Clay comes back and he has an epiphany because he's now talking to Felix, and Felix is like, you guys have been... Basically, it took Caleb coming back to get this plan in motion. Actually, Caleb saved the whole day.
Caleb was the real hero.
Caleb was the hero.
hero.
We always knew that Caleb should have come back for a reason.
Wow.
And here he is saving the day because Clay's plan was to surprise them, go after Peter Theo's information on his computer in his house.
Because if he has information on everybody else, he must have information on his collaborators, including Rourke.
Because people like that, people who have information like that, are always going to find a way to protect themselves. There's always going to be a fail-safe situation, and Peter Theo was too smart not to have fail-safe on.
I thought that was pretty smart. A smart angle for the writers to go in. Like, why, if they're 20 steps ahead of you guys all the time, where could we go? Oh, Peter Theo. That's awesome.
Right.
Wait, what was... Oh, sorry. Girl's name from Quantico season 1.
Isis.
Iris.
Not Isis. You know why? You know why I said ISIS? Because I wrote down ISIS, and I really meant Iris. Oh God, not ISIS. Lord help me.
I wish they showed the scene where like they got Iris on 13 because Iris was like, "How could you be part of this?" Da 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 da. She's out. Like
and then Iris came in,
and then all of a sudden she was helping them. Why did they have? All it would take for me to be happy is a 5 to 10 second scene of Alex going, "You win?" And she goes, "You bet I'm in." And then that's it. I would be fine.
Wow, that was really good. You definitely captured the corniness of this, some of the moments on this episode.
Being honest.
Yeah.
The makeout scene at the bar was really uncomfortable.
Yeah. The Will, Iris, and Peter Theo thing, and then the bedroom, and then Will's like trying to act like he doesn't like it, and I'm like, what is happening? And then he says, what did he say? I'd be okay with it. That's what he said after that.
Yeah, with like...
Yeah, Iris was like, if you don't do this, I'm going to let him have your way with you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool. All right. I get down with that little gay threesome.
Down with the...
So they take this information to the Russians. Another reality check where the Russians are now in play, which is something.
Well, that's why they were trying to lure Peter Theo, because they were trying to hack his computer,
right?
To do this whole Russian
information
thing.
to do the Russian thing. Yeah. So they get this information to the Russians, which was really weird because Russians had not been in play this whole season, other than just a conversation with Felix. It wasn't like we ever saw or had connection with some other than a conversation with about the Russians and their connection to the United States. So I thought that was a little weird to have another outside group now come in, and then now they're doing this information. I just thought it was sloppy to use the Russians in real time as the people to help take this guy down.
I don't know. I feel like America's always had a feud with Russia, so of course Russia would jump at any opportunity.
But it could have been anybody.
What do you mean it could have been anybody?
I'm saying like it could have been anybody who wanted power. It could have been any other superpower.
Yeah, but Russia is our equal superpower.
You know who it could have been?
What, North Korea?
No, it could have been what's his name from the UK. What's his name?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong people, but I think Russia was a fairly reasonable.
What's his name from the farm? From MI6.
Harry?
Harry.
Where's Harry?
Where is Harry?
Sebastian. I'm saying it could have been anybody to use that information to take back to their government, especially with with the United Kingdom being an ally.
But the United Kingdom is one of our...
That awkward, sounds like something my girlfriend would say, scene between Clay and Shelby at the bar, and you're like, this is so uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
And then I made the Goldilocks reference, so I was like, Shelby went for Caleb first, and she was like, oh, he's too young. And then she went for Caleb's dad, and she was like, oh, he's too old. And then she found Clay, and he was just right. So just kidding, because he got back together with his ex-fiance.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Did not kick out.
Yeah.
I mean, so then they get to the convention, and Rourke is the role of the Russians was to get Rourke to propose a constitutional amendment. Amendment to one of the amendments, basically, to change a couple of words. Basically, they wanted to change
safety to security.
Safety to security, yeah. Which I wish they would have told us the whole line.
Yeah.
in the so we can understand what that change, how big that change would have been.
Mm-hmm.
So then basically they get there. Clay gets pulled into the office with which I thought it was weird that Claire Haas wasn't there.
Why would she be
like as a part of the resistance?
Well,
why?
Because Clay was doing all this work.
I just thought that it was
where was everybody?
Not necessarily there at the convention, but like President Haas wasn't anywhere.
Like nowhere.
Like
and
how could you bring back Maxine and not President Haas?
Maxine. She's pretty chill after being dumped.
But, right?
She was like, how is he? Everything's good. Like, they were engaged. It's only been, 4 months apart. And I love that she's not suspicious at all that Shelby and him are getting it on.
Well, she's a little suspicious.
Not really. She's like, I know you guys are friends. It wasn't
but then and then toward in more further.
She was like, I
could see why he would
lie to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the team gets there, get the information that they need. They get the recording. Alex goes live, which I was like, okay.
To out him.
That was weird. Whatever.
That was so weird. It's like a Periscope.
It really was.
Right, it was Facebook Live.
Recording live from the weirdest basement I've been in.
And then all of a sudden she's in broad daylight.
Yep. All of a sudden they found your location, but then she's all of a sudden in front of them. If they found her location...
First of all, where were the people standing outside the door?
Right?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they were looking for her, there would have been guards at the door.
Great security.
She opened the door. There was nobody behind her. She had that Beyonce fan, windswept hair, blah, blah, blah. She walks in.
She did look great.
And she looked amazing, and she's walking in not unharmed. Nobody's trying to take her out until somebody then tries to take her out, which she ends up getting shot. Well, I'm... It
was fake. And then we finally and when we see that they set up Miranda to, I guess, had taken the shot, but it was just a blurb in her shirt. The one thing that I loved about that whole thing was Ryan's reaction.
Oh gosh, it killed me. But it was so that whole oh baby, you did great. When have we ever heard Alex call Ryan baby?
What she's been wanting
that relationship
to say for
was so
2 seasons.
forced. This last 2 episodes, it was so forced. I felt like they were trying to get us to like them, and it just wasn't working.
They haven't built them up enough.
Thank you.
At all this season.
Some people require a little friction to bring them back together.
But one relationship that I did like was the Owen and Miranda kind of
flirtation
flirty thing. I was like, I wonder if they're gonna explore that. Nope.
I was just honestly more relieved that he was going after someone his own age, because I was getting really creeped out when Raina brought to light the tension between Alex and Owen, and she's like, I don't think it's about, she's like, it's who she went with, and then you're like, oh gosh, it's real, it's not just us. But then it never happened, so I was really pleased.
In the chat room, they said, why did they have Miranda shoot Alex? I missed that whole. I forgot about that whole thing.
No, I got it. I am with the truth. I don't understand why they had Miranda do it either. I don't understand. I don't.
Wait, of all people, you mean? I get why she did it.
I get why she did it now too. It just hit me.
Hit Alex too.
But well, there was just a blank. There was just a blurb. She didn't get
saying.
shot.
And which I don't understand how she ended up shooting a blank. Everybody's out. Everybody gets out, but I mean, everybody's like free, but Miranda. Miranda only shoots Alex. So what's the point? How do they get everybody out, including Nima and Raina, off of terrorism charges and felony charges? Miranda shoots a blank at Alex. Maybe they got her on murder charges.
It had to look like she actually shot her, though.
Right. I'm just...
Because they needed Alex to disappear.
Right. But how many times have they got somebody that just hit somebody?
I don't know. Miranda said a lot of times in this episode, she's like, it's not penance. She's like, I have to do what's right for my country. And I guess that's what she felt she had to do.
Yeah, I'm with Chels too. I thought the shooting was... the shooting could have been a cliffhanger too. So at the end, Rourke ends up committing suicide.
Good.
Yeah, what a cop
It was such a cop-out. I agree.
I thought he would have gone out there. I mean, we knew it was coming, like just in that conversation with Clay. But I thought I was just like... First of all, where did he get a gun? He's in a room...
That's what I was thinking.
With Secret Service...
4 of them in every corner.
Yeah, and so you're like, so what is the Secret Service there for? And how did he get a gun? Like, okay, and then was the thing that was interesting, and again, a piece of reality, which is he says that Theo and Winter and Fletcher, they all have the money to buy themselves out of this whole thing, which we talk about constantly. People being billionaires and they're have the ability to kind of buy their way out of whatever they want to, and that he has no money, and that but which I find really interesting that he wasn't funneling money to out of all the things he could have done, he didn't funnel any money to himself. But by that point, he would have gone to jail anyway.
I feel like he was the fall. Yeah, he was the fall guy.
Yeah.
If things went south, he would have always gone to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, on a happier note, it was like a little bow tie at the end.
That's why it felt like a series finale for me.
Yeah,
and we'll get to that in just a second because so Nima and Raina are out.
Yep.
Maxine and Clay back together.
Yep.
So awkward.
Owen is now the deputy director of the CIA.
And he's reshaping the agency.
You know what it was? It was the fact that Alex helped him out in the pool.
Oh yeah.
That's what got him that role. And then Miranda's in jail, not happy. And then Shelby is now, I guess, training recruits at Quantico.
Which is fitting.
Great.
I like that. You didn't like that? I thought that was great.
I liked it, but I don't think Shelby should be training anyone.
Oh, I like the fact that
Shelby literally does what she shouldn't do all the time.
The truth said, there's the plot hole. That he got the gun from the plot hole. Deanna got sucked into the plot hole.
There are many plot holes.
We should do segments on our other shows about the plot hole. It should be instead of predictions, it should be the plot hole.
There were too many plot holes. I think one relationship that I really liked that they tied up was Nima and Shelby and how they were saying, "Oh, we're the Powerpuff Girls," because they were together since season 1, and I really enjoyed that. How close they got and how they're gonna miss Alex.
Yeah. Yeah, so then, and then the Alex in the plane scene. First of all, I want to know why Alex was on a commercial flight by herself.
All alone? That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, where are all of the other passengers?
Like, it wasn't even a private plane.
She's trying to be low-key. Next scene, flying commercial, completely alone on a plane.
Right.
But
what is low-key about that?
The only thing that confused me about that was that they were in the bunker, right? They were in the bunker. Everybody's wrapped up. Yay! They're saying, oh, there's some people that are saying that they've seen Alex for the last month in Belgrade, I believe it was. And then was it like a
3 months
flashback?
earlier? It said 3 months earlier.
Oh, they did.
So it went back. Yeah.
Okay, so it did go back to the plane when she left.
it did.
Why didn't they just
to confuse us a little bit.
Why didn't they just do the plane first and then go into the
I thought it was a typo. I thought it was like 3 months earlier, then 3 months later. I didn't even think about that.
No, it was 3 months earlier. It's when she took the flight away and Ryan was there. That's why Ryan didn't say goodbye.
But it was so obvious, like when Owen was telling her in the car, oh, Ryan's not here. He's got to do something. And I was like, he's probably in the plane waiting for her. It wasn't a big surprise, you guys.
It was also the same way they met. Now I feel like I should rewatch episode 1, season 1 when they met.
They met. Oh, they met
on the plane, and
right.
he said, "I'm Ryan Booth," and she was, "Nice to meet you, Ryan Booth." The same thing. Yeah. That's why I felt like a series finale. How are they going to end the series now?
Right, and so
Ruined.
so just to be clear, Friday was probably the last couple of days for a lot of the renewals of a lot of shows. I know we talked about at the beginning of the episode. Quantico didn't get renewed until like in the last few hours, in the last 12 hours. Today, like within the last few hours.
Wow.
So, so I think that they went in giving fans a bow tie. Like a tie-up at the end.
Because they didn't
know what was going to happen.
So true.
But now it's just going to be even more awkward coming out of all that bow tie.
Well,
you know
I think,
what I mean?
and so as they go into the next 13 episodes of season 3, I think that there's an opportunity to kind of do here's where everybody is. Now they've got to come back together for one last hurrah, get it over with, get it out of their system because there's a bigger threat, blah, 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 whatever, get everybody out. And I think that's going to be it. And I think that's going to be it.
I think season 3 is it.
I think season 3 is
I think season 3 has to be it.
Yeah. So it's been a great season.
It has. I love doing it with you guys.
I love doing it with you guys. I loved our viewers. Our viewers have been really loyal.
Yes.
Thank you guys for keeping up with us every week.
Leave your comments below to tell us what you guys thought about the season, your favorite episodes of the season, your favorite characters of the season. We'll be sure to respond to everything. I have political culture. Tuesdays on Black Hollywood Live and AfterBuzz, so be sure to check that out. We just hit our 1-year anniversary. What shows do you guys have?
I have a lot of season finales this week. I had this. I have Grey's Anatomy season finale on Thursday night, and then the Survivor finale that I do on Wednesday nights is coming up next week. So I will be all out of after shows, and I'll miss you guys.
Yeah, we're actually wrapping up Famous in Love tomorrow. I have the season finale of Designated Survivor, Disney Movie News, and for the Bachelorette premiere, I will be guest hosting the Bachelorette after show.
That's
so
exciting.
stay tuned. I'm really excited.
With the first Black Bachelorette. Be sure to follow AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV and follow all of us on Twitter and enjoy season 3. Quantico. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.